kind of what we need to do to get points on the road.
What's the mindset going into this unique first half of the season? Do you see it as a tough task? Do you see it as an opportunity to really build momentum in the second half of the season?
We see it as an opportunity, to really get in control of our own destiny. Obviously, we play so many games on the road in the beginning. Everyone talks about how hard it is to win on the road here in MLS. I'm not quite sure why that is. But in my opinion, I think we have enough young guys that it doesn't matter. I mean, coming from countries where an away game is an away game, and it's just as hard playing the home game. So for us, I think the mentality is go in and get results. Pick up as many points as we can, because then I think if we're able to, like I said, get in control of where we want to be going into the second part of the season. I think we should be good and really take advantage of the new stadium and the environment that we're going to have.
There's been a lot of player turnover in the past, from the beginning of the start of last season. There's possible that 8 and 9 you guys started on Saturday won't have been here since weren't here at the start of last year. Is there a sense that you guys are kind of forging a new identity within this club, or are you kind of building upon what has been here for quite some time?
Yeah, I think it's a fresh start for a lot of us, and it's a fresh start together. Obviously, I consider this season will be my first full season. This was my first preseason with the team. In the off season, I was looking forward to this year to be able to get on the same page as everyone and start fresh with a new type of system and new ideas. Obviously, what we were doing last season wasn't working. Before I got here and after I got here. So now I think with a fresh start, with fresh faces, with a different type of structure and type of system that we're going to play, I think everything points us in the right way with the right mentality and the right players on the field.
Orlando's also gone under a lot of transformation this offseason. What do you kind of expect from them on Saturday?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a good team. Like you said, they got a lot of movement in and out of their team this year. They got some big players for them. But like I said, I think here with our new system and us all being on the same page, and especially after the game, it was against a new USL team, but I think we saw how we can be successful, and obviously the little parts where we need to protect ourselves, where we still need to have a lot of work done on the field. So for us, look, we're going to go in there. We're going to look for 3 points. It's going to be a very fun game for us. Obviously, getting a real match in the way, and also a challenge, because I think Orlando's kind of in the same boat as us, right? Not finishing too high in the table last year and getting a lot of pieces. So I think the key will be for us just to go out there and do what we've been doing all preseason and working together.
Ben talked about how you guys should be pretty dynamic, obviously in the midfield and in attack and in counterattacking. With the additional pieces you guys have added, how special do you think you guys can be in that regard?
I think we're going to be really special. Like you said, we have a lot of dynamic players and a lot of players that can change games. And so I think for us, we're going to get our opportunities each and every game. It's just a matter of how clinical can we be in the final third and getting done with it. I think we have all players who work extremely hard on and off the ball when we have it, when we don't. So I think defensively we'll be a solid team. We worked a lot on it in the preseason to how to eliminate as many goals against as we can. Obviously last year we weren't good with the goals against. So now we've picked it up defensively so far in the preseason. Now how can we be clinical in the final third to finish games?
What's going on, everybody? So yeah, this is a Saturday. Getting used to this. Happy to be here. Thank you guys for tuning into the Focus TV. We got Cardell Dudley here. Our guest, Brian Inge. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. And we got a lot to talk about this afternoon or evening, however we want to look at that. But Cardell, the Wizards.
Yes, sir.
Every week we got to talk about the Wizards. they've been busy. You know, they've had a little bit of a homestand here. They've done pretty well without John thus far. That said, you know, you and I are both on the opposite side of that whole they're better with John. This crazy notion that they're better without John Wall, and you know it's Beal's team, yada yada yada, that people are ignoring. Even though Beal and almost every member of this team has came out and calmly said they're just trying to hold the fort down till their guy gets back. You guys can head over to finestmag.com, momonosports.com. Kevin Durant, when they asked Kevin Durant about the Wizards before they played the Wizards and after they played the Wizards, KD had this really great quote about the playoffs and needing your big dog. He said John is the Wizards' big dog, and they need him later.
And he said anybody that feels that they're better without him don't know basketball,
Yes.
which I respect. I love that he said that because, come on, man. You know, I just feel like they're professionals. They're supposed to step up and hold the fort down when they're supposed to just implode. If that's the case, then they need to blow everything up because that means it's bad. They're not as good as we thought. And to their credit, they have stepped up. But like I said, teams you starting to see the real from the fake as the playoffs start, which is middle of April. We month and a half, so teams are starting to get serious, lock it down, trying to play for seeding and get the momentum to go into the playoffs, you know, and you know, so the Wizards, no one's gonna feel sorry for them. You got the Pacers tomorrow, then the Heat Tuesday. It's just it's real right now. So I think it's both sides. I feel like, you know, John has to see that he has the best team he's had probably since that year when Paul Pierce was here and he broke his hand in the playoffs where they probably would have went to the Eastern Conference Finals against Atlanta. This probably his best overall team. And he realized, like, you don't have to do it all yourself no more. You can step back a little bit scoring-wise, focus the energy maybe on defense or something else. And even with the Wizards, fine, you play well, but you kind of appreciate what John Wall's bringing.
Yes.
Because some of those sets they run, having to move the ball, they have to do that because not too many guys on their team can consistently break down and get their own shot. Wall could do that with ease and get easy points in transition and stuff. That's what they're really missing. Because, like, game after game, they're in single digits in transition, even though they high in assists. So they really just a half-court team. So it's just an appreciation for what both bring. And then when he come in, they both adapt, and it could be something we be talking about next year, something special going down. But if not, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, and one of the bright spots over, you know, they've lost back-to-back games. Golden State, Toronto last night, has been to play Otto Porter. I mean, he's been outstanding during this stretch quietly. You know, some people, you know, the questions about Max Player and all that other crap that we hear sometimes. Otto's been playing out of his mind. His teams have been adjusting to Beal. As you said earlier, talking about how they're guarding Kelly different. You're guarding some of the quote-unquote others a little bit different now that John's out. Because even look at the way that Golden State attacked them. It was literally someone not named Bradley Beal has to beat us. And they made that clear every time Brad touched the ball. They were highly attentive on every catch. Like, we're not going to let you get space to get going. He didn't get his first basket till 5:19 left in the third quarter.
And that was just a bad time to go cold. Sometimes I feel like Brad Beal settles for the jumper too much. You know, I would like to see him attack, but it's tough to attack the Warriors. But I see Otto Porter stepping up big time. You know, the next step for him is when he see Bill struggling and the team struggling, he got to be able to, like 25 at school, sometimes you might have to get 35 or 40 for them to win. And that's the difference because they're losing close games. You know, where, if I got to go on, maybe I should try to go even more, get more points to try to counteract that. But really what's killing them is turnovers and points in the paint. In their last two losses, I think each game they turned it over 18 times. The Warriors scored 26 points off those turnovers and outscored them 42-40 in the paint. And last night against the Raptors, they turned it over again another 18 times. And Toronto scored 27 points off those, and they dominated the Wizards in the paint 44-28. You know, we all know defensively, no disrespect, the Wizards front line is, you know, they're just not that athletic and they're not that good defensively. And teams are starting to pick up on that. So, and now Oubre, he's in a shooting slump. Like, they're really focusing on him. He's 6 for 24 over the last two games. They're really
he's getting hard closeouts now versus before.
I mean, and he has to adjust his game, but this is new. So he has to adjust his game because I see him complaining like certain calls he might got before All-Star break he's not getting it. I'm like, dog, it's playoff time. They looking at you different.
Yeah.
So instead of going off for that finger roll, man, go up there and try to dunk it. You know, like, you got to do that, man. You know, and he got to find a way because that's what it is right now because 6 for 24, they're not going to keep winning. What they need him to score. Though Bill, Oubre, and Porter, they have to score. There's no other question about it. If they don't score, if one of them have an off game, it's tough. If two, then it's definitely a loss. They just don't have enough right now, so you got to figure it out.
And another person who's been playing well during the stretches, been Sadaransky, and he's getting used to going from, it's one thing to try to find out, whole nother thing when your role completely changes, your ass to start. And,
Right.
He's done a solid job with that. But as you said, with Otto, when you see one of the other big guys struggling, having to step up, Sato, sometimes you got to be a little bit more aggressive with that 6'7" frame. Get into the paint and cause some trouble. He does a great job of driving and kicking. But as you said, his defense is, there's tape. Defenses watch tape. They know what's coming. They expect you to drive and kick every time. They're sitting on that pass.
Even Sadaransky, he got to get more aggressive. He's overpassing now, trying to keep everybody happy. And the team see that, man. And they playing off that. So they making him, just be a driver and make him, we going to force you to try to score.
Right.
So if he's taking a lot of shots, it takes shots away from Bill and all them. So, hey, man, that's the beauty of basketball, man. It's like a chess match.
Yeah.
So they gotta try to figure it out. They gotta do something.
And one of the things you brought up was talking about the Wizards front line and, obviously leave much to be desired in terms of rim protection and whatnot. Another area that they miss John. A lot of times people forget that's the guy defending the rim more times than not.
Running down,
Those
getting
chase down blocks, the help side blocks. And again, some of you guys out there is what you miss. Sometimes it takes someone being gone to see what you miss. Because a lot of those times we've seen, especially earlier in the season, people get free on that back line. Here comes John, punching somebody's shot. You're out in transition. And that's what's hurt them so much, as you said.
And it energizes your team. You see your point guard doing that, you get pumped up.
Yeah.
You can run out. It's contagious. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said people that think he's not relevant for the Wizards, he's not needed. They high drunk or something because they need him bad. You know what I'm saying? So for them to go far, otherwise they're gonna be first round and out.
Yeah, and
Simple
even
as
right
that.
now, as you said, with the seeding, they've done a good job because they're still fourth. And despite the two game slide, which they can't let become 3 tomorrow, when they take on Indiana, they're just a full game back of the Cavs.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, they balled because I was just hoping just stay 500 because
Right.
just stay 500 during the stretch till he get back. Then they've exceeded that. So yeah, they played well. That's what I'm saying. That he got the team because they got rid of even that bench hasn't been up to par. And
You gotta
the
think about
Raptors
what you're
punished their
missing from
bench.
the
But
bench
yeah,
right now
so
with John
Sadaransky and
out.
Oubre
Yes.
is a big part of that bench, man. So that's what come in.
Yeah.
So. Hey man, I mean Oubre still coming off the bench with Sadaransky and everything. That's where it helps. So, I mean they just need a full team, get that chemistry back, and it's not just them, man. I see other teams. They got players in and out.
Yep.
They're being inconsistent right now. Even the Cavs, I'm not getting too high or low on the Cavs because I got to see what, how they blend with Kevin Love. Because right now, I'm not scared of nobody on the Cavs team, even LeBron.
Right.
Kevin Love is the one that kills the Wizards.
And he's the one that was eating earlier in the year when everybody was ignoring Cleveland. Well, ignoring him. He was killing this season before he went down.
Yeah, it's the reason why he was an All-Star. So he's
didn't get traded.
Huh?
And didn't get traded.
Nah,
They
he
can't.
ain't
The
LeBron, that's
offense
stupid.
broke after. If he go, that offense
No, I'm
broke.
saying that's why they can't trade him.
Yeah, LeBron, that's stupid.
Not that crazy. But like you said, it's literally one big crazy cluster in the East. Everybody's within a couple games of each other, and even those teams at the top, you got to hold on. Everyone's trying to maintain their seeding.
And home court's gonna be huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be very huge. So, I would preferably have it, but it is what it is.
But again, still, as you said, they've exceeded expectations while John's been out. But you just gotta keep at it. And what you don't want is for that loss column to start creeping back up to 500.
Right.
Done a great job to have a nice difference in that margin, and you don't want to lose it. But moving on to the A10
Conference
Sir?
championship,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
But right now the women's is going on, and George Washington is representing. They actually knocked off top seed Dayton earlier, 58-53, so they advanced to the championship game tomorrow. Senior guard Brianna Cummings led the way with the game high 15 points on 6 of 15 shooting, 6 rebounds. Freshman forward, I've been telling you about her. You saw her when they played Maryland, and I told you she's going to be a player. Neela Luma, she posted a double-double, 12 points and 10 rebounds. She's going to be one of their all-time greats. She has everything you need. And they would play the winner of St. John's to St. Louis tomorrow, which they were playing while I was on the way here. I'm not sure who won that game. For the past few years, honestly, George Washington has dominated the A-10. Last year they took back step. Obviously that was the first year kind of without John Quill and all that. But past few years they always been the champions in the A10. They kind of running it, so I'm not surprised about that. Hopefully they can close things out and make it to the NCAA tournament and punch their ticket. As for the men's, it's coming up this week. The men's side will be held March 7th to March 11th at the Capital One Center. It's always competitive league, man. It's not much parity except for maybe the bottom, but between I say 1 and 11, it's very competitive. If you don't come to play, you can get beat. And so I'm gonna give a quick preview just so people can kind of understand what's going on with each team, and definitely make y'all way to Capital One. You will not regret it, man, because conference tournament with a chance to punch your ticket to the NCAA tournament. And from what I'm looking at, Lunardi bracketology and all that, they project only 2 teams will make it out, and that's pretty much and that's pretty much Rhode Island, St. Bonaventure, whatever. So I'm pretty sure they see it too. So they're like, man, we need to go ahead and win this because right now it ain't looking good. NIT or something else. So I'm gonna give a quick preview. Obviously the top seed is Rhode Island. They're 23-6. Before they were playing as I came in, they're 15-3 in the conference. They got the top seed. St. Bonaventure come in second. They 23-6, but they're 13-4 in conference. Davidson is 18-11. They 13-5 in the conference. St. Louis 16-14, 9-8 in the conference. George Mason is 15-15, 9-8 in the conference. St. Joe's is 14-15, 9-8 in the conference. VCU 16-14, 8-9 in the conference. Richmond's 10-19 overall, but they're 8-9 in the conference. You know what I'm saying? How tough it is. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they that's bad everywhere else, but in the conference they got every people's number. Duquesne 16-14, 7-10 in the conference. GW's 14-16, 7-10 in the conference. Dayton's 13-16, 7-10 in the conference. LaSalle 13-17 overall, 7-10 in the conference. UMass is 11-19, 4-13 in the conference, and Fordham is 9-20, and they're 4-13 in the conference. Rhode Island, that's definitely a tournament team, a team I expect to see in the second weekend, honestly, of the NCAA tournament. They have the deepest backcourt in the country. It's not even close. They got at least 6 guards that can start on a lot of teams right now. They're led by Jared Terrell, senior, 6'3" senior. He's on there leading scorer, averaging 17.8 points, 3.3 rebounds, 2.4 assists. E.C. Matthews, another highest scorer, 12.9 points. Stanford Robinson, who's a local kid, played at Paul VI before going to Finley Prep. He averaged 9.6 points, 5.6 rebounds. Jeff Dowden, that's one of the Inge pupils. Blue Devil, he averaging 9.2 points, 5.5 assists and 3 rebounds. He's one of the best in the country as far as assist to turnover ratio. He don't really turn the ball over at all. And he kind of keeps the flow going, keeps everybody happy. And the other guards is Fats Russell, averaging 6 points off the bench, and Jarvis Garrett, who's averaging 5.6 points. So they're deep at that position, and we all know in the conference, in the tournament, guard play is huge.
Yes, it's everything.
Yeah, so they got that in spades. They also got a big I like that came from Patrick School, Cyril Levine. He averaging 6.2 points and 6 rebounds. He's a beast on the boards, one of the top rebounders in the league. He's a sophomore, he's young, but he kind of holds it down inside, and they're going to have to keep an eye on him because while they're focusing on the guards, he's fully capable of posting a double-double and being an X factor in the game. St. Bonaventure, they're led by, they don't have as deep, guard crop, but they're 2 guards that are, they're seniors, as deadly as they come. Matt Mobley, senior, he averaging 18.4 points, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and Jalen Adams, a local kid from Mount St. Joe's, he's leading the team with 20.8 points, 3.7 rebounds, 5.4 assists, and they're deadly, man. I think they lead the league in points per game at 80, and they get to the free throw line. That's what I'm saying. They're hard to deal with. They lead the conference in free throw attempts, free throw makes, and free throw percentage. Davidson, another team. Peyton Aldridge, one of the top bigs in the country. Even though he's 6'7", he played much bigger than what he is. He's averaging 21.3 points, 7.8 rebounds, 2.4 assists a game. And Kellen Grady, 7.9 points, 3.3 rebounds a game. Freshman guard doing that. So that's why, they kind of made that leap, top 3 in the conference. They also one of the top scoring teams in the conference at 75.3. And also the best offensive rebounding team. So what they miss, they definitely clean up. So you got to keep them off the boards.
That's a tough out.
Yeah, it gets that way. St. Louis is another dark horse in there. They led by a junior guard, Javon Best, who averaged 13 points, 7.5 rebounds, and DeVille Roby, senior guard, 11 points and 2.8 rebounds a game. They're first in free throw percentage, so they like to attack, get to the bucket, and get to the line, which puts your team at a compromise because you get in foul trouble early.
Right.
That's what they kind of focus on, and they're the top defensive rebounding team. So
You don't get second chances.
exactly, it's one and done. So that's how they keep themselves in the game to counteract the lack of depth that they may have, like the other top teams like Rhode Island and stuff like that. George Mason, a lot of people not hitting them. Surprised. They led by Otis Livingston, junior guard out of Jersey, 17.4 points, 4.5 assists a game. And Jair Grayer, 12.9 points, 7.2 rebounds, 1.4 assists a game. They're fifth in points at 74.9, but they're second in field goal percentage, so they're efficient. And they're first in total in rebounding total and assists. So that's what I'm saying. People sleep on the A10, but it's a lot of
Like, just from what you said, right?
right.
That sounds like so many, just really intriguing matchups. You know what I'm saying? Like, in different styles, because a lot of those just don't mix. Something has to give when these teams meet each other.
And that's the beauty of college basketball.
That's gonna
And
be fun.
that's the beauty of it is coaching. They trying to exploit that, but then you got kids and men trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a
Right.
good blend where you don't know kind of if somebody might be off, it can cost you. Or if you don't know somebody might step up and it helps you. So it just goes like that. St. Joseph, there's 6. Shavar Newkirk leads the team. Senior guard, 17.6 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, 3.8 assists, one of the sleeper guards in the country. And James DeMary, senior forward, 17.2 points, 5.5 rebounds. They just pound it inside. That's what they do. I know Newkirk can score from the outside, but they just try to exploit the inside matchups and work. They play from inside out instead of most of the other teams are from outside in.
Right.
And that's their advantage right there. And they also third in the conference in rebounding and fourth in blocks. So they, like I said, they try to pound it in and slow it down and make it a defensive battle. Make it a sloppy game.
Right.
What most teams don't want. They want to get out and run. VCU, everybody know about VCU, the history with them. They lost a lot of depth. A lot of guys transferred. Y'all picked up one that Larry, who I heard just about to go pro. So
Yeah, he's gone.
that's a whole other conversation for another day. But
Definitely, I don't need anything right now, so let's move on.
okay. They led by Justin Tillman, senior, who's always been a problem. He's averaging 19 points, 9.6 rebounds a game. De'Riante Jenkins, 12.8 points, 3.8 rebounds. And, you can never count out VCU. They just battle tested. A lot of these guys been there, since Shaka was there. Going to the tournament every year, fighting, trying to get deep in there. And they're third in the conference at 3-point percentage at 40.8. So that's what their edge is. They shoot the ball well, and they also pretty good rebounding team. They fifth in the conference. So, like I said, they're battle-tested experience. You can never count them out. I would not be shocked if they came out to, champs or whatnot. Richmond, they had a lot of seniors that graduated, but they still have a couple key players that are young that they're going to build around. Grant Golden. His brother, Bryce Golden, plays at St. James, who's going to Pittsburgh. He's the older brother. He led the team with 15.8 points, 6.5 rebounds, and he's a freshman. So he already leading the team. Nick Sherrod, another sophomore guard, 14.1 points, 5.1 rebounds a game. And DeMonte Buckingham, a guard from the area who I love. I think he's a problem. He averaged 12.3 points and 7.1 rebounds per game and 3.5 assists. Like I said, Grant Golden, they work through him. He's a highly skilled big. He can do it inside and out. He can pass off the high post, and it makes it easier for the guys not to always have to go one-on-one. The problem with them is they really don't have a lack of depth. I'm looking at, the roster, 7 out of their 12 players average 3 points or less. So once you get past them, you know what I mean? So they have to come to play every night or it's pretty much an easy win. Duquesne, they led by freshman guard, Eric Williams Jr., averaging 14.7 points, 8.8 rebounds. And Mike Lewis, the second, former teammate Jason Tatum out of Chaminade, he averaging 14.3 points and 2.3 rebounds. They're first in total points, not points average, but just total points. Same thing with them. They look to shoot a lot of threes and they die by that. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. They don't really have the depth, so they live off their shooting from their guards. And if you can control them on the three-point line, it's a good chance you win. If you can't, they're going to win. It's as simple as that. GW, man, you've been talking about them all year. They led by senior forward Utah Watanabe, averaging 16.5 points, 6.4 rebounds. Patrick Steves, senior, averaging 10.4 points, 5.3 rebounds. And Jair Bolden, sophomore point guard, averaging 10.6. And freshman who I love out of Baltimore, Terry Nolan Jr., 9.3 points, 3.4 rebounds. With them, it's defense. If they play defense, they usually win because they get out and run. They're dangerous when they run. If they don't strap up and get stops and it becomes like a half-court game, that's when they get into trouble because they don't really shoot well at all. Like they're next to last in the conference. They're 13th at three-point percentage. So they don't shoot it well, and teams know that. So that's why they try to make it a half-court game, make them just shoot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But so if they can get out and run, play good defense, they can go far, and that's the difference for them. Last, I'm going to leave it at Dayton. Josh Cunningham out of Chicago, averaging 15.5 points, 8.2 rebounds. And senior guard Darrell Davis, averaging 15.2 points, 4.2 rebounds a game. Same thing with them. They rely on the three-point shooting. Just looking at them kind of, doing, scouting them out. They don't have the athletes to play great defense, so they try to make it a shootout. And they're capable of out-shooting you. So, and they look to just shoot threes. So if you control that, run them off the three-point line, plays in your hands, and, it should be a good W.
Man, that was a really in-depth preview.
Yeah, it's more, but it gets ugly, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't
But now I'm definitely going to be trying to pay attention to that and pay attention to the matchups because of everything you said. It's going to be crazy.
Because this weekend is the last week in the regular season, so I don't even know the seeds yet. So I can't tell you who's playing who. So that would,
just to see how them strengths match the strengths and weaknesses of each.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
And you see it with other conference championships going on, like the Big Ten and all that. Teams that at the bottom of the league are winning, going deep. They trying to get to the tournament. So, you never know who's going to rise up.
All right, folks, this is the first segment on today's show here on The Focus. Thank you for tuning in thus far. We got a lot more left. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll be talking with our guest, Mr. Brian Inge.
Does that mean y'all heard that?
Welcome back, everybody. You are still watching The Focus if you just tuned in. We truly appreciate you spending the next 30, 45 minutes with us. If you did just tune in, you missed one heck of an A10 preview. We also talked about the Wizards and what's going on with them. That being said, our guest today is Brian Inge. Again, if you're just tuning in. Cardell, what are we talking about with Brian today, man? The floor is yours.
DMV, the AAU season is upon us. High school about to end, so what's new with DMV league and events coming up?
It seems like basketball never stops. It really does never stop. It's that time of the year where we're trying to get, rev up for the spring and summer AAU travel season. But before that, it's a few new things we're doing. Of course, we always have the Unsigned Senior Showcase, which I believe is April 1st or is it March 31st. I could be wrong, but check my site, check dmvelite.com, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. But before that, we're doing something new with First Class Sports Academy, where we are creating an academy, like combine, like real training style academy at First Class Sports, their facility over there in Temple Hills. It has a full-size basketball court, turf field, weight room area, sand pits, Vertimax, all that, cycling, all that. So anything an athlete needs to get that skill development, anything like that, that's the place to be. So I'm glad to be working with them to grow their business, and I think it's going to be a very successful partnership for the area, because in this area it's hard to get good space for kids to get the type of training that they want to get in. Everyone knows our kids are the most skilled, the most driven in the world, but it's becoming increasingly more difficult to get facilities and time to get that work in.
Right.
And so, like I said, Casey Hayes, the First Class Sports Academy, he's got a great facility. He's been doing some great things with kids for years, and I've known him for a long time. We've come together. We just want to partner and kick something new off. We got an event called the Power 15 that we're going to kick off. This will be invite only, but after this, we've got a lot of shooting clinics, position-specific camps, breakdowns. Like I said, we're going to have agility and strength training, combines, all stuff like that. So a lot of good stuff planning. And also, like I said, the AU season starts in April. We got the spring warm-up, which is probably, if not the best, the top 3 pre-live warm-up event in the East Coast. Last few years, we've had #1 picks, we've had top 5 draft picks, we've had McDonald's All-Americans, you name it, and it's only getting bigger and better. And like I said, this year we've got the live period events, April 21st and 22nd, and also the following week, April 27th and 28th. So just trying to keep building and keep doing more to help these kids and help the culture and stuff like that. And so it's looking to be a really, really good year.
The event you was talking about, the invite only 15, was it Power 15?
Power 15.
What is that in detail? Just 15, the top 15 players come to,
Not necessarily the top 15 players, because a lot of the quote-unquote top players will still be playing in different state tournaments or getting ready for their trial season with their respective teams. But we're just going to take 15 kids who, from our selection criteria, who we think can help, and just we're going to do combine style training. So we're going to get on the court, get on the shooting machine, do some basketball drills. We'll have some really good training going on. Then we'll also have the kids will have the opportunity to do the shuttle drills, all the stuff that goes on in the NBA combine, the broad jump, the vertical jump, the max bench test, speed, getting the sand pit, and then we're gonna put them through a workout, and just to show them what they can expect from the coming events in March, April, May, June, for the rest of the calendar year.
All right. As events director, what are the positives and negatives that come with it?
With the positives, it gives everyone another avenue to continue to get better. I don't see too many negatives. I guess one negative could be maybe that it gets too packed in there. I mean, so it's a nice, cozy facility. And if you're looking to get in there to get some runs in, play 5-on-5, that's not the place for you. This place is specifically for you to get better, and that's why I really wanted to partner with them, because I'm adamant all right, let's just get better. Let's get all the jelly and all that stuff is cute, man. Let's get better. Let's get stronger. You know what I'm saying? We can't relive off, the KDs and the Vic Oladipo's and the Markells, all them guys playing pros. Nah, we've got our fame in the area, but let's get back to the nuts and bolts. Let's get better.
No doubt. AU season, like we said, is upon us. I see a lot of Blue Devils making a lot of noise, from Jeff Dowden at Rhode Island to current players even in high school like LJ Owens, Jared Bynum, the Metro Twins, and Mount Verdi. What can we expect this upcoming spring, summer from the Blue Devils, so to speak? Right
now, we're trying to figure out if we're going to do a 17U and 16U teams. Some things went down where we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball. We could have done things a little bit better, but either way, we're still going to continue to help our kids. We got things in place, contingency plans per se for our organization with our kids. So the main thing is just making sure they're all right and getting where they need to be, and continue to get better. We've had some guys that just won a WCAC championship. We got guys up north who are doing really well. We got the Twins down south who are getting ready to play in now it's called the Geico Sporting Goods National Championship. So we've got a lot of kids doing really, really well. We just want to continue to support them any way we can.
Okay. And as everybody in the basketball world is watching closely, what's your take on the FBI investigation that's rocked college basketball and connects to agents, college, high school, and AAU?
I think that's a very complex question. I mean, it's a very complex answer because you kind of have to break it down in segments and pieces. So for one, yes, it's wrong for anyone to break federal law, of course, 100%. But then you have to look at the NCAA. Well, you've been operating under these same business practices for the last 50, 60 years, or whatever it has been. So on one hand, why haven't you adapted to modern times? And you could say, well, this is how it's always been. The kids are getting scholarships or whatever. Okay, well, if you look back, a lot of businesses who were prominent before the market crash aren't prominent anymore. And the ones that are, they've adapted and kept innovating. So why can't the NCAA innovate? So that's a problem I see in itself. Like, not even the whole racial and economic breakdown, but specifically on the business side. Like, you can't innovate. Like, you want to hold on to this old way of doing business. So it has to change. On the players' side, I think players should be compensated somehow, some way for their image and likeness. So I'm not saying, oh, you go to Kentucky at Duke, you're the top pick in the country, or the top player in the country. Here's $150,000. But you can. I'm saying, all right, maybe we can't pay, but maybe all right. You can go to the local gym or the local Applebee's or local wherever and sign autographs or do promotional stuff like that, or anything that doesn't interfere with your class, stuff like that. I think should be fine. And maybe they should give a bigger stipend. I don't know what that is. That's above my pay grade, but it seems like the kids who are bringing in all this money should get a piece of the pie. And I understand that basketball and football take care of most of the sports and the universities, but you still have to compensate those guys who are doing so much for the rest of your university, and it's not even just the university. Some of these colleges are in like little towns where the university supports the town. So these guys are actually supporting your local community, the economic community, and you don't want to give them anything. That's a problem, and that needs to be changed. And agents they've been around. The NCAA doesn't want to give the kids money. The agent's like, all right, I'll give you a loan for what I think, less than what I think you're worth, but here's something, come sign with me. It works out, it doesn't. That's what it is, because they know what these kids are worth, and they're like, all right, we'll pay to get in the game. Why can't the NCAA pay to let these kids play the game that they want to love? A lot of kids want to get educations. Like, kids don't want to just, maybe they want to done. Some do just want to do their time and get out. But a lot of kids, in college, you learn a lot about yourself, You can't just go from being a kid to a man overnight. College, at least for me, college helped me grow into being a man. So whether it's a semester, a year, or 2 years, I really do feel that a lot of kids need to go to college.
Right. To piggyback off you saying that, maybe a bigger stipend to pay the players. Here's one question I have that maybe, you can help out with. Let's say they do start paying the players. Should the best player on the team, let's say it's Trae Young with Oklahoma, he's getting paid a certain stipend. Should the 12-man event you never get in the game get the same type of pay? And if you at a university where the women's team is the power team, should they get paid more than the guys? Would they, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It gets tricky. That's why I'm all for playing the players. Of course, if you play college basketball, you felt that sting where it's like, man, like
I can't even get
can't do nothing. But my thing is, so how do you divvy up the pay? Because no disrespect, if I'm the top player, it's just like in life. Mm-hmm. If you're a better worker than me, you should get paid more.
I think, and just off the top of my head, because I really hadn't thought about that, and that's a really good question. But I think maybe there should be like a standard stipend of what every player should get, and then on top of that, say you make all conference, or you make first team All-American, or you're the player of the year or whatever. Maybe you get a slight bonus or a different opportunity to do something. And I definitely feel that there's got to be some type of well thought out system to get kids or what they're really worth, or at least something. You know what I'm saying? So the first man division, 12-man, everyone should be treated fair, but equal is relative. And the same thing for the women. Like UConn, man,
exactly.
Give them the bag.
Exactly.
Give it to them now.
South Carolina, no disrespect. Yeah, they come on now. Tennessee is what it is, and that's what I feel. But how a lot of them are like, hold on. But I'm like, they carry that university. Mm-hmm.
They carry the city of Stores. Have you been to Stores?
No, I drove past it.
There's nothing there. It's like you've got farms and farms and
Like a lot of schools.
farms.
Like that. A lot of schools.
It's
like
nothing there.
We can stop with the farms, okay?
My
He's
bad.
from
Appreciate
Connecticut.
it. Like, we
Yeah.
can stop with the farms.
No, I like it there. I'm just saying, but there's nothing there.
I'm just saying, you ain't gotta say farms that many times.
But you know what? And
I agree with you though, but
well, like you said, it helps you grow into a man. And as you realize, as you become a man or woman, as an adult, you realize life ain't fair.
Yep.
So that's why I'm saying the 12th man on the bench or the 12th woman on the bench shouldn't get paid. Katie Lou Samuelson, she should get paid more than the 12th person on UConn. Just like Anthony Cowan should get paid more than 12 man on the bench from Maryland. It is what it is. So
And it's like a reality tick for some of these kids too. So like, you're the 12th man, I'm not getting my due on this basketball team. Well, maybe you should probably look at doing something besides basketball. And that's what, that's another thing we'll talk about later, but maybe you should look at doing something besides playing basketball. I mean, you're smarter than that. Even if you feel like, man, I could be a pro. All right, well, what if you're not? I think that pay grade, that pay system will kind of maybe get kids being in that entrepreneurial business mindset where like get my head sticking like, dang, like my main man got this engagement, stuff like that. Well, maybe I can think of something that's not basketball that'll make me something more than that.
Right. Are the parents to blame as much, if not more, than the coaches, runners, and agents? Because sometimes they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar and create a situation. The player like, hold on, I ain't take nothing. Well, I had to take a little burger. I was hungry that night, and then the kid like, for real, like, was my man from Kansas, the big man, Cliff Alexander, a few years ago. His parents messed him up. He didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And it messed him up getting to the league, because he was ineligible for most of the season. And then basically he was like, I gotta go because I know I'm not gonna ever play. I gotta try now.
Right.
So are they as much to blame, if not more?
I think the parents, the blame should always. I mean, you got to analyze the situation because each situation is different. But I think the blame can go on the parents sometimes. And especially in a situation like Cliff. I mean, I forget the number of what was taken or what he took or whatever. But it's like, dude, what's going on? But some situations where you guys, like, I think Miles Bridges, he had his mom had dinner or something like that,
$40.
or even like that. Like, all right, she got a dinner. Okay, that's not too serious, But in some situations, I see why parents do take money, because they're in a situation where they need it. Like the bills aren't being paid, or someone's very, very sick. Or, you're in a situation like, dang, I know I don't need it. I shouldn't take this money, but on the greater good, somebody else needs it, or like we need it. But some parents are maybe are being selfish, or some people being selfish with it, and that's the problem. So I think every situation is different, and that's why I think the NCAA did a terrible job of really analyzing every situation. So like, okay, this family took money. Why did you take money? You took how much? What did you really do with it? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you took this much. Oh, now you bought a car, or you bought this, or you did all that. Well, let me see your bank statements. Why are you buying that? Oh, you're getting over. But some people actually really need that money. And so I think that you have to analyze the situation case by case.
But even we play devil advocate with that. See, on the parent side, let's say, like back in the day, rest in peace, Moses Malone. They threw the bank at him. We buy your mom a new house, whatever you need. He knew he was gonna be a pro. So, mom, as pro as you are right now, you gotta understand, hey, we've been poor this long. What's another year or a few months? You see what I'm saying? Right. Then we good. You ain't got to deal with no nonsense, no federal investigation, none of that. You just free. Now y'all good. Why can't parents come to that conclusion, realize, you know what, this little bit ain't going to equate to the big number I'm going to get later on. Let me just be patient. I mean, it ain't going to get no worse. It's only going to get better.
Right. It's tough. I think they should wait. I mean, like I said, it's only 365 days. You've been poor, or things been tough for a number of years, decades, whatever. I get it, but what's another year? You know what I'm saying? If you can hold out and keep your son or daughter or whoever from experiencing this type of scrutiny, then you should do it. You should definitely hold off, man. But I mean, like I said, there's good people, and then there's situations where good people make bad decisions with good intentions in heart. You know what I'm saying? But then you have people who just try and get over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like you just got. That's how it is. Like, no, you got good people, you got bad people, and it's just like you got to analyze each situation and just take it case by case.
No doubt. Inge Consulting Group. Tell us more about your new business venture and what your vision for it is.
Well, just thinking, piggybacking off what we were talking about earlier about the first man on the bench getting, we'll just throw numbers out. Say he's getting $100,000 and the 12th man is only getting $10,000. Well, something should be going off in your head that you need to do something besides basketball. And maybe you're like, man, school wasn't for me. I don't want to have a 9-to-5 job, which you should to start off with, you know what I'm saying? But I really want to do something. Well, what Inge Consulting Group really is trying to push the people who are student athletes or who are in the sporting community to being more business and entrepreneurial minded in their decisions, or just putting the bug or trying to get the light bulb to go off to help these kids and young adults see that you can do something in the sporting community besides playing basketball or football or bouncing a ball or throwing a baseball or something like that. So the idea for my company kind of came before we came out, me, myself, like Jarrell Thomas and Blake Bozeman of the Pittsburgh Group, before we came out with the Sports and Business Career Transitioning Symposium. So I was kind of thinking like, man, I've done all this to try to help kids, and you still got situations where like, I feel like I haven't done enough. Like I could have done more. Like people have given me little nuggets of information that at the time I really didn't relish, but then it stuck with me. Then 3 or 4 years later, I get it. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of want to put as many people I can in this environment where they're getting good information and that will help them make good decisions with their professional career, or introduce them to things that they may not have thought about. Right. Man, as a kid, I never thought I would be starting my own consulting firm. Never. That was never one of my goals. That was never one of my ideas. But as I grew as a person, I realized that basketball wasn't the entire puzzle. It was just a piece of the puzzle. You know, I've had conversations with Keith Williams and Daryl Davis and some of the other guys I look up to. Was like, man, I'm more than a basketball player. And then I grew up like, I'm more than a trainer. I'm more than a basketball coach. Like I can do more than that. You know, and I proved it. I've proven it. And I wanted to help others see like, nah. Just because you're nice, just because you got these opportunities, you can do more with it. And I think this time and this day and age with the social media and everything that's going on, it's so much easier to make something of yourself if you can learn how to control your image, which LeVar Ball has done negatively. We can talk about that as well. But if you can learn how to control your image, control the narrative, and then being able to just do whatever your mind puts in front of you, whatever you want to do.
Why do you think a lot of athletes kind of limit themselves? Because I agree, like you going to college, you know, I remember I was sitting in a class one time in college and the teacher was going over, itineraries and all that. And then the teacher looked at me and my teammate was like, yeah, in this class, you guys gonna have to do work. Y'all ain't gonna just have to, y'all not gonna just get a passing grade. We looked at them like, yo, why you singing this? Oh, like, you one of them. Okay, so we made it our mission to kill in that class because it's just a mess with the teacher and all that. But in that sense, it helped me realize like, yo, you should want to be a thoroughbred, be nice in multiple areas. Because like you said, you always thought in the back of your mind, like you might be a pro, but what if you blow out your knee? Yeah, exactly. Then you have no education, nothing to really fall back on. So my field was graphic design and all that, and it kind of goes into everything I'm doing now. So, I took that seriously. But why you feel like a lot of athletes just, they're limited when they're coming into college and they just a one-track mind, just basketball. Or think, football, whatever. I think
the ones who came before us, not us specifically, but the ones who are above the younger group or younger kids, they're not doing a good job, or there has been a good job done in preparing them for adulthood. What I mean by that is, schools do a good job of trying to provide different activities and different experiences where you learn how to do little things, but it has to come from people of the culture. Like, as a kid, I'm not listening to no teacher. I'm listening to get my grades, but like some real life stuff, I'm not listening to my teacher. I'm listening to somebody who does something that I want to do, or who's in a line of business or like a team or coach, something that I respect. So I really didn't have too many people as a kid who would tell me you should probably look at this, or expose me to graphic design or finance or media or stuff like that. I never really thought about it. It was just, I'm a hoop, I'm gonna figure it out, I'm gonna be a good kid, I'm gonna get my grades up to keep my mom off my back, and that's what it's gonna be. Right. So like with my consulting firm, I want to do a lot of workshops that's showing you the importance of finance, how to balance your checkbook, how to create a resume, how to go out and get a business loan, how the stock market really works, when you should invest in the stock market, things that like guys who are older guys around me who I've met when I was like after 18 taught me. So I learned late. A lot of kids, a lot of white kids, Asian kids, they're learning this early before they even pick up any type of basketball, football like this. Nah, you're going to learn how to balance this checkbook. You're going to learn how money works. You're going to learn how energy works. Like Daryl Davis once told me, one thing that they don't teach at school is the most important: finance and energy. And that always stuck with me. And I was like, finance, I never really, like, how does that work? Like all that, what do you mean? And that's something that really stuck with me. Like, I had to learn that. And like, we can teach these kids, like I said, how the dollar really works and how to make your own money. Then, I mean, they'll be fine. We just have to plant the seed. And once the seed is planted, it's up to the parents and the coaches and everyone else to keep raising the kid. Like, it takes a village to really raise a child. And like I said, we're just trying to do our part.
Right. And that's funny you said that, because even in college, my graphic design teacher told me that. He was like, man, you realize you can be an entrepreneur and never have to work for yourself? I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
He's like, when you look around you, everything is graphic design. He's like, you got to open your mind up and all that stuff. Like, you nice with it. Like, really open your mind, start paying attention. That's what woke me up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you said teacher, but you know, and then it comes down to like the player, they gotta pay attention, they gotta apply it.
Mm-hmm.
You can give them all the information. If they not trying to hear it, they not trying to hear it.
Start them early though. The earlier you start them, the easier it is to retain information.
But in our communities, who, you see what I'm saying? Who even has the information in our community?
Not many. So actually, you know what? It is some, but I think either they're not giving back or they don't know how to give back. So I think I'm lucky enough or fortunate enough that I'm of the culture. I grew up. You know, I met, first time I saw Kevin Durant, I think he was like the 6th grade when I was going to an 8th grade trial with to play on the team that his brother was on. Then I ended up playing with Kevin Durant. Then I met Mike Beasley. Mike Beasley was at National Christian when I was there. You know, so Taiwan lost, and I was working out with him going into, like, he was like a sophomore and I was a senior when I left McNamara, which is trained with Keith Williams. I've seen all these pro guys in the summer working out. You know, and I've seen Chris Monroe, who is the all-time leading scorer at George Washington University. I rode with him in his like Ferrari or something, and I'm like, dang, you really made it. And we going to a business meeting, and you know, I'm like, whoa, so this what you do? Like, yeah, like basketball's cool, but I got all these properties in the city. I want to show you how I do it. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I've been around guys who made big moves outside of basketball by using basketball to make big moves. You know, like I said, Daryl Davis, he sat me down. I'm in the meetings with big time consulting firms, architectural firms, you know, small businesses and stuff like that, and they're talking about like big money, and they're signing deals to increase like cash flow and how to help payroll and how to do their taxes and stuff like that. And I'm like, whoa, what is really going on? You know what I'm saying? So I think like that's my mission, is to really plant these seeds. I know I can't do it by myself, but at least I know enough people that I can. So I can be like, all right, here's somebody from Wall Street. Mm-hmm. Here's a kid from Southeast. Let's meet here. You know what I'm saying? And it's up at that point. I mean, you can't reach every kid, but you know what I'm saying, the effort is there, and somebody's gonna pick it up.
No doubt.
Somebody's gonna pick it up.
My last question for you is talk about safe space.
Safe space. That's probably the main thing I'm on here today. That's a venture that is a partner between myself, Inge Consulting Group, and the Pivot Group with Blake Bozeman, and the good people of the Focus TV. You know, something I came to you guys about. Like, I was passionate about creating another avenue to get the message out there and to get people to understand that you can do more than just be an athlete. You know, you can be a businessman. You can own a facility like this. You can own a gym. You know, so you can manage people's money. You can do anything you want to do. You can be a high school coach, a college coach, whatever you want to do. So what we're going to do, and I'll let you talk about this as well. What we're going to do is, like, we're picking start 8 to 10 individuals who we're going to profile, who have done great things through sports and who are doing things outside of sports now. So I don't want to give too much, but like the first person we're really going to reach out to is Mike Jones from DeMatha. We're trying to lock down some dates to get his take on some good things. Like I said, Chris Monroe from GW. I mean, he's someone who worked really hard, was good in high school, but then went to college, wasn't that good, didn't have a position, worked his way up to having to being the all-time leading scorer, and then has so many different business ventures that he conducts. And now he's working at GW, giving back to the university that helped make him, and just giving that story so people can understand how it really works, what it really takes to be successful. Then we get some other professional basketball players we're going to talk to, and we got some. I'm going to try to get back in touch with a few people from our panel, some other people who were interested in being on our panel, because I feel like the more we can get the message out there, the easier it's going to be for people to understand that you can do something different. And like I said, just trying to, like I said, some symposium we did was really, really good. But I mean, for that type of information, for that type of message, and for that type of knowledge, it wasn't enough people in attendance. We probably had between like 40 and 50 people there, something like that. Man, that gym or that arena should have been flooded. It should have been at least 200, 300 people in there, because I mean, you got a financial manager, you got somebody who's done it, who's worked with Tiger Woods, Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. You got somebody from Under Armour who's actually there giving out apprenticeships and not scholarships and potential
Internships.
Thank you, internships. And then we had a lawyer on there. We had a woman who started her own consulting firm who used to play at Coppin State. So we got all these great people, and like the message wasn't getting out there like I wanted it to. So I'm thinking, well, you know, you guys do a great job of getting the message out there, and we have like our visions aligned. Like I got the message, you got the message, you got the medium, and I felt like it was a good opportunity to push our culture forward. It's another avenue to try to keep pushing our culture forward, man.
Hey, happy to partner up with you guys.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's needed, you know, kind of make it a good idea, because I was also thinking about kind of, you know, I don't know if y'all remember like ESPN The Life, they really went deep in kind of having that flyer, you know, where people could really see the real and not just the, I guess, image, you know what I'm saying? So they could see everything that go into it. That makes you appreciate things more.
It really does.
You know, that's why, you know, I see Kobe's kind of in the film industry now, and I love what he did, you know, as far as the Muse, where you really see the details, everything. He even got real personal, you know, the personal side, how his mistake led to his kid not making it, stuff like that, the stress and everything. That needs to be told more so kids can really understand the real, because right now I feel like they live in fantasy world. Yeah,
you got to understand the pain, like the amount of pain and tears that go into being successful, man. Like, like I don't know how true it is, but somebody said like after the WCAC championship, Coach Mike, you know, he was so moved that tears came out. People don't understand.
Oh no, he booed for, you know, I was there. He definitely let it out, but
people don't understand the pain and like the determination and the effort it takes to even get to that point.
Because a lot of people hating too, you know. After the Oladipo teams were cooking all those guys and they want, it's been a minute.
Yeah, but and
like he can't coach, and it's just, come on, man.
But being able to tell like the story behind anything is good to hear, because I mean we'll get more into it, but just getting that backstory on what made you who you are, I think is really good for the people in our area to understand and see what made them, because everyone has an opinion and everyone sees the outside, but no one really knows what that person is going through or has been through or is planning to do except for that person, you know. So why not get to that, come to that person and get their take on, get their message in their words.
Right, exactly. So we will be hitting people up. We're contributing to what their vision is, and you know, we hope to inspire people. That's the whole goal. So
just giving a safe space to tell your story.
Right.
All right, well, Brian, thank you so much for coming through.
Always.
I enjoyed y'all's conversation.
Okay.
Hope everybody who was watching did as well. A lot of good stuff coming on the horizon for every member, every person in this room, and respective mediums and organizations. So it's always good to see, you know, us get together and do positive things.
Right.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will wrap up. Thank you so much for watching The Focus. Again, we're going to be right back. All right, everyone, welcome back to The Focus. Having some interference.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to The Focus. Want to thank our guest, Brian Inge, once again for a wonderful conversation with our Cardell Dudley. All right, some last-minute notes before we end this week's episode. DC United MLS season is officially here, as you guys saw with the video to kick off tonight's show with DC United winger Paul Arriola. They play their first game tonight. They take on Orlando at 7:30. It's on the road. Luciano Acosta is suspended. Out with injuries are Russell Canoose and Taylor Kemp. Orlando will be missing Dom Dwyer, their outstanding forward, due to injury, and newly acquired Sasha Kleiston because of suspension. So just a couple things to keep your eye on tonight. Obviously, preseason, whatever you saw in preseason, sometimes you just got to throw out the window, especially when you got new personnel. Teams change every year no matter the sport. You have to wait to see, things are live before you see what coaches actually do. I'm interested to see if any tactical changes have been made to DC United's side. One of the reasons with their new wealth of talent in midfield, want to see how things work. Are they going to still keep that central defensive midfielder? They're going to go without it. Also in preseason, we saw a lot of the times the midfielders did a great job of filling the box, which is something everyone up front failed to do last year more often than not. Agencies also want to know who's going to get the start up top at forward. Is it going to be Darren Maddox? Is it going to be Patrick Mullins? Either way, it's just the first of many games, beginning of a long journey tonight for the Black and Red. And, going to tune in at 7:30. I believe it's on Channel 8. And see how things go for the very first official outing of the 2018 MLS season. Also, got to see what the defense looks like. No Bill and me. This is year one for DC United without their outstanding keeper back there. They have two very capable keepers, two veteran keepers in Darren Alstead and Steve Clark. One of the things Coach did talk about was they wanted to do a better job of retaining the ball. So again, there's a couple things to keep an eye on tonight if you are a fan or supporter of the Black and Red. Quick update. Cardell was talking about college basketball a little earlier. It's that time of year, especially on the women's side for Maryland. The Big Ten tournament started this week. They beat Indiana in their first matchup, 67-54. Maryland native, Kyla Charles, 24 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, I believe, to lead the way. They host, they face Nebraska tonight at 8 p.m. Ohio State faces Minnesota in the other semifinal, the championship. Should Maryland advance, it would be to no one's surprise if it comes down between Maryland and Ohio State. That's kind of been the theme of the Big Ten on the women's side since Maryland's been in conference. This was also the first year that Maryland didn't win at least a share of the Big Ten conference outright. So that's what could possibly be on the table tomorrow is another matchup. The last time those two teams met was right here in College Park, and Maryland took care of business. They won handily. So all Maryland needs to do in the women's tournament is a little bit different than the men's. The top 16 seeds get to host the first 2 rounds. All Maryland has to do is win the conference tournament, and you get to host. Otherwise, Selection Monday might go in a little longer than it typically goes, and you'll find where you'll be traveling to. That being said, we'll see what happens. I want to thank Brian again for coming through. Cardell, as always, and get over to finestmag.com, get over to mymodelsports.com, and we'll catch you next week, which will also, I believe, be a Saturday, because we've been a little bit busy with these Tuesday shows. Gotta love the NBA schedule.
I won't be here. I'll probably call in, but I'm gonna be at Capital One.
Yeah.
And Maryland State. That's the actual championship day.
As you shared a little earlier. Look, it's grind season around these parts. Yeah. We're gonna do our best, whether we're physically here or calling in. But thank you guys so much for your continued support, and we'll see you guys next week.